Hey, Magic Man here, and like I said, I was going to be bringing you another video of the German destroyer, the Tier 4, and here it is. This is basically more of the same from the Tier 3. It's still nimble, it's still small, and it still doesn't have a whole lot of health, and it still has forward-launching torpedoes with 2 in the middle. These torpedoes still reload in 38 seconds, and they're basically unchanged from the previous ship. Now you can get upgraded torpedoes on the V-170. All it does is increase the speed of the torpedoes by 2 knots, and it increases the reload by, I think, 5 or 6 seconds. So I decided to just skip that because it doesn't increase the range or do anything else other than increase the speed by 2 knots. I didn't think that was too big of a deal. So I have the stock torpedoes. This is a stock ship. This is my first game in it. Just like the G101, I'm showing you a game. Basically my very first game in a stock ship. So it only gets a little bit better from here. Right now, my rudder shift is somewhere around 4 seconds because this is the unupgraded hull. Same with the last video I showed of the German destroyers and the G101. They do react quicker than what I showed you in the video with the upgraded hulls that they have. They also get AA protection, which is something I don't have here. So, this is a game of domination, and so far I kind of feel like the German destroyers sort of excel at the domination game. They're not as good as the Americans, but they are a very close second. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. The combination that they have forward-launching torpedoes, which means you can charge down another destroyer or any other ship for that matter, and also because they have a quick reload on their torpedoes, and because of the angles that you can fire those torpedoes at. They also have pretty quickly reloading guns, along with the fact that they are small and maneuverable. Makes them good ships for capping points. And so we captured C here, and I'm going to move on out. So far, it kind of looks like that Wyoming is going to be the only target that's going to be, I don't know, ballsy enough to move into a range where I can actually do anything to them. And it looks like my second set of torpedoes is going to hit. Not much he can do about it, doesn't look like. And yeah, he's going to take a ton of damage right there. And, land all 4 torpedoes, and like I said with the German destroyers, you see there, it's about 50-50 on the flooding. I hit 4 torpedoes, I got 2 floods, so that's kind of what I've seen a lot of the time. The flooding chance on these torpedoes isn't great, but it is good enough where if you hit more than 1 torpedo, you're more than likely going to get a flooding and force out the damage control. I am spotted by planes right now, which is a bad deal because there is a Russian destroyer. And these guys, the Russian destroyers are pretty tough at this tier for the Germans to deal with, because the Russians also are fairly small and they usually have an extra, well, sometimes they have an extra gun over you. And there is a Clemson. This little bugger is dangerous, and that was some just bad dispersion on the part of the guns there. And yeah, that's a little bit better. I only get 1 hit though. I probably should have zoomed out at this point, and yeah, there we go. So I could actually see what I was shooting at. And I'm just kind of weaving back and forth here, trying to make it hard for me to hit, but I just opened up my broadside there, which was a dumb thing to do, even in a destroyer. And I thought about it while I was doing this. I'm like, man, I should really switch over to AP and see what the armor piercing can do to these destroyers when they're broadside like that. But unfortunately, that opportunity has passed. And it kind of looks like this game's going to be a little bit of a rout against the enemy team there. One other thing that the German destroyers at these low tiers also do fairly well, because the guns are elevated on those platforms, they rotate 180 degrees. Or not 180 degrees, but 360 degrees. So as you're maneuvering the ship, you know, if you have a target on your port side or on the other side of your ship, you know, you can switch targets fairly easily without having to adjust the angle of your ship. So that's nice. That is definitely nice. So here we go. Here is the same Russian destroyer again, and it looks like he is turning in towards me. These are the shots that I'm really bad at landing, is these sort of turning shots like that. And this is where the German destroyers don't trade too well with these other destroyers, mainly due to the fact I don't have as much health as he does, and my high explosive shells also don't do as much damage as they do. As you can see there, my shells were doing like 396 damage, 400 sometimes, so not a whole lot of damage there. Not like the 500 you'd be getting with like the Americans. So yeah, that's something that you have to deal with. If you can ever get into a situation where you can use the AP on a broadside destroyer, though, you should definitely do it. And I was waiting till I was undetected and out of danger there before I used my repair. I do see the aircraft carrier over there. He is going to be my target after I get done capping here. While aircraft carriers aren't too much of a issue for me, they do pose the problem of having aircraft able to spot me, which is very annoying. Not a huge fan of being spotted. So the V-170 is just more of the G-101, which I thought was a pretty good ship. And you basically have sort of the same stats. This one's got the same 2.9 second rudder shift time with the upgraded hull. You still have like the 5 AA rating with it, which is basically no anti-air at all. But it does assign a number to your pathetic amount of anti-air. And it still has the same 102 or 105 millimeter gun that reloads in, I think it's 4 seconds. Yeah, it's 4 seconds. So nothing too much going on here. I wasn't sure if this guy was going to try and auto drop on me with these torpedo bombers. I figured he probably would since I was the closest enemy to him, but we'll see what happens here. Because I'm just about to capture this point, and I am going to move in to take out this carrier. So he does know that I'm coming now, which is unfortunate. And this game right here, I was actually retraining my captain, which is why I was running a premium repair. Probably around tier 5, I think, is usually when I start running premium repairs. But down here in tier 3 and 4, I just don't bother. Because most of the time you don't need it. But since I was retraining, the last stand kill skill on my commander is inactive. So you're about to get a good example of the torpedo arcs on these front firing torpedoes here. So they're pretty good. It's not bad. I probably could have turned in a little bit more and got the single torpedo on the other side going, but I decided not to. I didn't want to risk getting too close to that cruiser that is coming in, and I would like to set this guy on fire, because it's really going to help me keep these planes off of me. And doesn't look like he's going to be able to avoid all these torpedoes. Looks like maybe, yeah, there's 1 and 2 actually hit him. And that should be it for him, because I think I saw him put my fire out that I lit initially, which means his damage control should be on cooldown. And he's not going to be able to avoid this second set. Unfortunately, the low tier carriers are just way too slow, especially that one. Langley goes all of about like 18 knots, probably like 4 in reverse. And get another fire, but don't really need it because we landed another torpedo and we took out the carrier. I was really hoping that those torpedoes were going to clip that cruiser that was behind them, but it wasn't meant to be. And I guess the carrier decided he was going to set up an auto strike on me before he went down. But didn't help him any. This ship is so small, he'd have a tough time hitting it. And just like the G101, the gun range on this ship, 9 kilometers with the upgrade. Same 7-kilometer torpedoes. Like I said, it's just ship's just more of the same, which is not a bad thing, because this is a fairly good ship, especially for charging enemies with those forward launching torpedoes. That's really a unique thing that it's got going for it. And that sort of sums up the lower tier Germans from what I've found out. Average speed, above average maneuverability, decent guns, and good torpedoes. Okay, so moving on to the results here for the V-170. As you can see, there's kind of a reoccurring theme here. Got about 7 torpedoes and 4 floods, which is pretty close to the results we had in the last game with the G101, where I had 6 torpedo hits and 4 floods. But we only sink 2 ships in this one, and we got a base of 1200 experience. But as you can see there, did get the devastating strike medal, so that's kind of like a reoccurring theme there. A lot of times you're going to get one person that you're going to be able to land some pretty good torpedo hits on in every game. But we did a majority of our damage just to 2 ships, got a couple of chip shots in on some other destroyers. But the V-170 is just more of the same with the G101. Small, fast, maneuverable, good torpedoes. You know, it's just, they're good all-around ships. But ended up taking home 68,000 credits after all that was said and done. And I gotta give a thumbs up to the German destroyers. But if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Okay, so moving on to the results.